Interestingly enough, filing for bankruptcy in Virginia can be expensive. Everyone's situation's different, so sometimes it can be difficult to come up with $2,000 to pay for an attorney in Virginia Beach or across Virginia to file your case. As you've probably already noticed from the title, today I'm going to be going through the 10 different steps that you may need to take so you can file Chapter 7 bankruptcy in Virginia without an attorney. So let's get right into it. Welcome to the Ascend Finance YouTube channel, where we cover Chapter 7 bankruptcy and help you understand the costs, pros and cons, and help you be informed and get out of debt cheaper, easier, and faster. Now, I wanted to personalize this whole video to your situation. I'm going to be linking a bankruptcy filing software in the description that was built for Virginia residents and for those in all 50 states who are potentially unable to afford an attorney, but are still looking for some sort of step-by-step guidance on filing their own bankruptcy. The software can also automatically pull your creditor information and upload that information to the forms, so that could be a huge time saver, and also provide the specific courthouse in Virginia that may be handling your case. In addition, the forms can be a bit clunky and hard to understand, so the bankruptcy filing software kind of changes the way you fill out the forms. So instead, it's going to ask you questions in forms of quizzes, and then it'll automatically fill out the forms for you. In addition, if you'd like to see whether the bankruptcy filing software could actually work for your situation, feel free to fill out the short questionnaire. It's linked in the description below. It'll help you understand whether the software will work for you. Also, please keep in mind that this video is made for informational purposes only and should never be construed as any kind of legal advice. So let's start with step 1. First, it's helpful to probably gather your information and documents before you kind of dive into filling out the forms. It can be helpful to gather all the essential information on your debts, your assets, your income, and expenses. To help with that, you can maybe grab some free copies of your credit reports. That way, you have all your information in front of you and it doesn't cost you any money to get that. You also may want documents like your tax returns for the past 2 years, along with any kind of paperwork showing your income, expenses, debts, and of course, assets. Okay, so step 2, you're going to want to complete the Chapter 7 means test. So this test will ultimately help you determine whether you qualify for Chapter 7, meaning are you able to go through the process and wipe away the unsecured debts? Step 3, you're going to want to complete what's called the credit counseling course. So if you end up passing the means test, then you're most likely going to make the next move to completing your credit counseling course. This is the first of 2 courses that you may need to take in order to file bankruptcy and potentially get your discharge. Okay, step 4, it's now time to actually fill out the forms. There are about 24 forms, I think, but depending on your situation, the paperwork could honestly stack up to 70 or more pages. And you can actually find these forms on the official US court website. Okay, but let's pause and before we go too far. As I mentioned, there are a lot of forms, so it can be difficult to compile everything as well. So the software that I keep mentioning will not only fill out the forms based on how you answer questions, but it will also give you the ability to preview all of the forms and download every single one of them in literally one click. That's in one place, so you don't have to worry about missing any documents. You just click the download all button on the software and it'll actually provide you with all the forms filled out. Now, again, if you'd like to see whether the bankruptcy filing software could work for you, you can take that little questionnaire that's in the description below. Okay, step 5, you're gonna wanna have your filing fee ready. Now, before filing, you wanna make sure that you most likely have that $338 filing fee ready to go. This fee is most likely paid straight to the courts when you file your forms. You can potentially use cash, money orders, or maybe a check to pay the courts directly. Now, if you can't pay the fee full upfront, you may actually be able to pay it in installments or get it waived completely. Those are things to look into and reach out to the court about. Okay, step 6, file your bankruptcy forms with the court. All right, we're getting very, very close. So once everything's filled out, you're gonna print your forms. You wanna make sure to print on just one side of the paper though, and you want to look to see if there's any errors, then sign in all the correct spots, and then you'll also want to attach copies of your income evidence that you found over the last 6 months. You're gonna have your credit counseling certificate to prove that you went through that, And then you're going to have your application to waive or pay the filing fee in installments if that's applicable to you. Okay, step 7. Now you're going to want to mail the required documents to the Chapter 7 trustee. You're going to want to keep an eye on your mailbox. Open all the mail you get from the trustee, the bankruptcy courts, or any creditors. That way you don't miss anything that could honestly lead to potentially your case being dismissed. We don't want that. Okay, step 8. You're going to want to complete your debtor education course. So now that I mentioned that credit counseling course, you're going to also want to take this debtor education course. It's often offered by the same company, so you want to kind of get that taken care of and then file your certificate with the court as well. Okay, step 9, the 341 meeting of creditors. So about 30-ish to 45 days after you filed, you'll have the first meeting of creditors. Here, the trustee may ask you questions under oath about your case, but don't worry, these questions will be based on your information that you've kind of already provided in the form, so they should be okay. Okay, step 10, your car loans and any secured debts. So secured debts like car loans aren't necessarily going to be discharged in bankruptcy. So you want to either keep making payments, potentially surrender it, or do something else. But if you do want to keep your car, there's one thing about doing that, and it's basically called reaffirming the loan. This basically means that the loan stays active outside of the bankruptcy, so you'll be able to keep paying on that. Now, of course, if you default on that later, the lender can potentially repossess the car, but that's kind of what a reaffirmation means. Thank you so much for sticking around till the end. I know the 10 steps can feel long, and as I've mentioned, feel free to fill out the questionnaire. It's in the description. That way you can see whether the bankruptcy filing software could work for you. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.